classes is the one step. Jula 3. Jula 3 is the first class you have to take. Okay? There are 3 levels of the examinations. The first one is Jula 3. For anybody who sit in for the exam the first time, we pick up the Jula 3 sample of the question. And Jula 2 is the second time you sit in for the exam. And Jula 3 is the third level. So pick up. This is not the examination because it's from last year. So last year, this is how we asked the question. But actually, all the question, there is a format. Number 1 to number 10, there is a position of the group information. The first one will be the general knowledge of whatever you study for the 6 months or 1 year. For number 1, always the general. Number 2, number 3, number 4, until number 10, there is a position. So you can really name the topic of the information you have to prepare yourself for the examination. Like number 2 will be consciousness, citta. So it's all about citta. Number 3 is the name of citta. Number 4 is a description in more detail. Number 5 is cetasika. Number 6 is association, sankhaha. And number 6 will be the combination, which is the sampayoga. And the last one will be all the Pali verses related to Jit and Cetasika. Number 8 and number 9 will be Rupa. Number 8 will be general. Mostly will be the Pali verses that you have to write down and come up with the translation. And the whole point in this class is to help everybody to format all your answer into the same thing, in the same way. Otherwise, you will come up with the translation per your own preference. It's very hard because I'm not the only one who grade the paper. In the future, maybe Kunim might be able to come up, and we have the standardized group of answers, so everybody can answer the question into the same version, okay? And number 10 will be the Nibbana. That's for Jula 3. So in order for you to run around and read the whole book, you know right away that you can focus on the information of each items per what is designed to ask you. Like number 1, once you answer all the general information, you'll be able to get free from that section already. Otherwise, you have to come back and forth, without knowing what is the direction of your answer in the whole 10 questions in the examination. So this information from the test last year, from the exam last year, you can pick up again. And after this session, next Sunday, and the following session, 3 sessions, will be all the information I have to prepare yourself for the examination. Early June, I will come up with a video tape recorded by YouTube, and then get all the information to you guys. So at least you have a group of information you have to focus on, but that's not exactly the same as the question in the final exam, okay? You have like preparation period for yourself to be able to prepare and get ready for the examination on the 14th of June, okay? So now, 3 คนใช่ไหม Jula 3 pick up Jula 3, Jula 2 pick up Jula 2, and the last one Jula 8 pick up Jula 8. Apart from the question sheet, I have the answer sheet too. Some of you guys saw this before from the last examination, but most of the information in here, not most, all of them written in Thai. So make sure you can use your skill to interpret all the Thai after 1 year of study into this, because you really have to fill in a lot of information in here. For example, you have to write down your name. What is name in Thai? Chu, yeah, they put Chu here, so you will be ready to put down all your name, okay? And then one T, what is one T? Date, right? So you add the date of the examination and months and years. So they require you to read Thai only very few information. These are the autobiographic information for yourself so that I can grade you. One notion, one precaution, one information. Don't write your name. Don't write your name on the sheet because it's cheating. All right? Don't write your name. In the examination class, in the examination room, the proctor, the person who controls the examination, will come up with the translation for you. Mostly Dr. Nati. Dr. Nati will control all the information, and then he will assist you with the translation on the how to fill out information on top of the answer sheet here, okay? Some of you already passed through this process, so you understand. And some of the July 3 students will have to understand. I prepare the information for you guys next week, okay? I have the information ready, but I will not provide to you this week. This answer sheet will be given to you in front of before you sit down at the examination room, along with the signature of the proctor, along with the signature of the controller in that examination room, okay? So you'll be given two things on your examination day. One is a question and the other one is an answer sheet, all right? If you want to put down on how you come up with the answers, or you want to draft, you can also ask for the draft paper. So you have the main answer sheet, and you can ask for the draft paper too. I saw some year you draft on the empty space on top. Don't do that because it gets confused when somebody who grade your examination sheet, okay? So you have the paper, which is the question, and you have the set up a pack of answer sheet. And if you want to have the draft paper, the person, Dr. Nati can provide you with the draft paper too, okay? So you will get 3 sets of papers in order to prepare yourself in the exam room. Okay, there are 3 things that you have to be prepared. So this one is easy, don't worry. Everybody will assist you. And July 3, July 2, July 8 for the international student will sit in the same room. For example, July 3, July 2, July 8 will be in this room, all of you guys in this room, okay? One thing I want to ask, don't cheat, don't ask, okay? You can fail, no problem. I don't care if you pass. If you pass, it's good for you because you prepare something which is very worthwhile for your life. But if you pass, don't worry, don't get upset. Just try your best to come up with the answers, all right? And then we will grade. This year, after we grade your papers, we will not announce the level of your mark. You will see the points. You will not see the point. You will not see the mark. You will not see the level. You will not know if you get the A, B, C, D or not. If your name show up in the announcement at the end of the examination, you passed already. If your name missing, understand that you failed, all right? And we will not announce your name once you fail. So only person who passed the test will get your name printed on the board, okay? It's the law in Thailand now. We cannot really disclose a lot of information, a lot of detailed information of the students to the public. So if you pass, you get the name printed on the announcement. If you are not passed, it's fine. You will not see your name, okay? Minsan, do you want to have your name on the board? So if you want to have your name on the board, you have to prepare. And like I said, we have to format how you answer the question. So apart from understanding, you have to memorize now, okay? I ask you to memorize and memorize in English, okay? Now we come up to the main handouts. These are the information for everybody in Chula 3 only, okay? Next time I will try to do the information for Chula 2 and Chula 8. Chula 8 will be very complicated because after you understand all the detail in the class, the book really provides you with the basic information, but then you have to apply your knowledge into the answers. Kun Tin passed it already with a very good result. But we have to understand. So Chula 8, partly 5 items you have to memorize. There are some Pali verses in there, and 5 items you have to analyze. Because we have to segregate, we have to divide one of the Dhamma into 4 things. Khanda, Ayatana, Dhatu, and Satya. 4 things, okay? The plane, the door, something like that, okay? 4 things. I'll come up with information for you later. Chula 2, the most trickiest one because 100% memorization, okay? Chula 2, 100% memorization is the toughest subject in the whole class in Abhidhamma. So Chula 2 is the most difficult one, okay? After you progress to the higher level until you see me in Patana, will be very simple because you do not really learn the new things. You learn only the knowledge that you have passed from Chula 3 until you study before Patana. So Patana will not create any new information, just make a grouping of information into consciousness, citta, cetasika, matter, rupa, and annihilation, nibbana. So most of the things that you understand from Chula 3, Chula 2, and Chula 8 are the most valuable because those are the assets, the very foundation asset for you to progress to the higher level of the Abhidhamma. So now I have 19 pages of the handouts in here. Very difficult to understand for the newcomer, all right? Some of you guys learn it in time and you don't really pick up. So you have to consult with the one book, Manual of Abhidhamma. But Manual of Abhidhamma just give you the translation from Pali to English. They do not give you the explanation. So this handout, I have the literal translation, meaning word by word from Thai version into English version. So apart from the Pali verses with translation, there is an explanation and a footnote for you too. So you can refer to the information, okay? The first 4 items in your exam from these 19 pages. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. From these 19 pages only. So if you want to prepare yourself for 4 items in your question, just read, just review, just recite and memorize some of the detail in here, not all, okay? Not all of them. And then progress to the following weeks. I will give you the second version, which is the information for the item number 5, 6, 7, cetasika. And after cetasika, 3 items, I will prepare a new set of handouts for number 8 and number 9 for the matter, rupa. There will be very thick, rupa is the thickest ones, 30 pages, but you need only 2 points from the whole thing, okay? And then the last version will be nibbana, just 10 pages. So once you have a stack of everything ready, you can prepare yourself for Chula 3 examination. After we finish that, I'll try to speed up myself and bring all the information into translation from Chula 2, and then I'll progress to Chula 8. But after I prepare yourself for the for the test already. I will come back to give you information because some of us, I told them not to come today. Some of us are interested in knowing how to describe the phenomenon in consciousness, phenomenon in Cetasika, phenomenon in Rupa, and the state of Nibbana itself through English. So later on, there are some of the newcomers are two Americans, and some of the students in here at the upper level, they will sit in for us, but I told them not to come today because today I want to dedicate for everybody who will sit for the examination, okay? So now number one, just mark down. There are a lot of books. There are like hundreds books written about the Abhidhamma. They will give the same exact Pali verses on the first item. Sometimes they call it appreciation. Once Buddhism developed 2,600 years ago, and then Buddhism faced up and down situation along with the invasion from other religions. Some are not religions, but deep belief, okay? So there are some other religions, Christianity, or deep belief, or innate belief, like all the Zulu people. They try to invade. They try to push away Buddhism out of the society through the political forces. So after 900 years after the Buddha was deceased, there was one monk. His name is Anuruddha. So our great teacher in Abhidhamma is Anuruddha, okay? Anuruddha Thera. So he come up with the full understanding of Abhidhamma. Sri Lankan people, so very Anuruddha can easily relate it to the Pali original verses. So he tried to understand from the education first, and then he contemplated in his mind until he attained Arahata. So he finished all the things that Buddha teach already, so become a very special person. So after he helped himself with the knowledge in Abhidhamma, he want to help others to imitate the notion of the Buddha, help us and help others too. So he want to help others. So from 900 years after AD, he come up with this compendium, because compendium, all right? Atta Katha, compendium. So compendium of Abhidhamma start from 900 years after Lord Buddha deceased, okay? And that's the origin of Abhidhamma today. So the first thing that he did is he showed his appreciation to Triple Gem. He want to pay respect to Buddha, to Dhamma, to Sangha. So he write these Pali verses. Apart from appreciation showing, he also wants to declare himself as he is capable of doing this version of compendium. So the first words or the first information that you have to memorize to understand. You have to understand and memorize is in your number one question is the appreciation and declaration verses in Pali. You see the declaration and declaration on the very first page. See, you see the bold mark, right? And then there is a verses. Verses here, we use the Romanized Pali. Can you read it out? Something with the vowels and a straight on top we have to elongate the sound, make it longer. Like A word, mostly in phonetic, we pronounce as a. And then once we put a bar on top, a line on top, we will elongate the sound. From a become a, right? Become a. E word, E become E. I word become I. Something like that. So if you saw the bar on top, of the vowels, you have to elongate the sound. Okay. The second thing, if you see the dot beneath, is the stopping sound. Okay. That's how to define Pali into each consonant. So if you see the stop sign, a dot underneath the word, you have to stop right there. So now, if you can you read it out? These verses, we call it the appreciation and declaration words. Memorize. You have to write down on number 1, exactly, number 1 and 100%. So can you read it out? Samma, Sambuddha, Matulang, Sa-Dhamma, Ga-Nuttamang, Abhidhamma, Basisam, Abhidhamma Sangham, Samma Sambuddha, Matulang, Sa-Dhamma, Ga-Nuttamang, Abhidhamma Basisam, Abhidhamma Sangham. Now, apart from the Pali verses, number 1 question would ask you how to translate it to. So, translation in Burmese, not the same. Okay? Not exactly the same, because the translation here was done by somebody who understands Pali in Thai. So they have the technique of how to write down the translation into sentences per Thai version. It's not exactly the same as in Burma, okay? So if they ask you for the translation, you have to memorize this, okay? So I try to give you the format, otherwise you have to guess the meaning. So now read the translation of these Pali verses. I, Anuruddha, so I, not me, but who is I? Anuruddha Dera, okay, not me, not yourself. I, Anuruddha, respectfully saluted Buddha, the fully enlightened one, the peerless one, along with the sublime teaching and the noble Sangha, will respectfully compose the manual of Abhidhamma Sangha. You have to memorize exactly the same in order to get the full score, okay? Now, apart from the understanding, you have to memorize it. If you're missing out some of the words, that's fine, okay? Don't give yourself too much pressure. But if you can memorize exactly the thing, the translation reflects on the sabawa. You know sabawa? The translation always reflects on the sabawa, the state of reality, okay? The state of reality, sabawa. So it always reflects sabawa. In order for you to, 1, memorize it, 2, understand it, you have to get it exactly the same as what written in the sheet, okay? Now, in Abhidhamma, Manual of Abhidhamma Sangha, they will stop right there. But this book, Julan 3, we give you explanation. So apart from the Pali and translation, you have to break it down into 5 words, okay? They will ask you, please divide the Pali verses into terms. How many terms can you divide from the Pali verses, okay? And if you see, there are 5 ones. After the explanation, you will see the 3rd paragraph. Acharya Nurutta, see, they give you the breakdown of each term. Sometimes they'll ask you, what is the meaning of atulang? What is the meaning of atulang? Can you see atulang? They will ask you, apart from the verses in Pali and the translation of that Pali, they'll ask you, what is the meaning of samma sambuddha? They will ask you, what is samma sambuddha? The Buddha is himself. If you understand, you can write out Lord Buddha, but you will not get a lot of good mark in here because you have to get from the Pali words, okay? They'll ask you, what is samma sambuddha? What is adulam? What is Sathamma? What is Abhivadiya? So, all the sheet here will be the key to your answer number 1, okay? Number 1. And then, once you can read it out, once you can really memorize out, you are prepared for the number 1 question. They will not ask you to cover the whole information on this page, okay? They will get some part of it into your answer. But the compulsory answer are the Pali verses and translation. So you have to memorize it now. It's very hard to memorize, but you have to memorize it now. But if you really write down English and then you're missing out something, you can put your Burmese alongside, okay? Only Pali, okay? If you have to write Pali and you're missing out something and you don't understand, you can really come up with the answers. And you know Pali in English, you write Burmese of the Pali, okay? Pali Burmese is acceptable. But in translation, you have to write out in English only, okay? The Pali part, if you can come up with the Romanized, write Romanized. But if you cannot come up with the Romanized, you can write Romanized and insert some of the Burmese Pali into it, okay? But it's not hard. It's not very hard, okay? So come up with the first declaration and the appreciation. The second item, they will ask you about the citta. So before you answer citta, you have to make sure yourself you understand what citta. Okay? Citta, what is citta? I know we know consciousness, right? But what is consciousness? We know consciousness all along since we were little, right? We are angry, that's consciousness. We are happy, that's consciousness. Okay? Once our minds calm, that's consciousness. But in Abhidhamma, we don't really study consciousness as what it is. Okay? Because in Abhidhamma, Abhi means greater. Dhamma is reality. So the greater reality is Abhidhamma. So what Abhidhamma? Abhidhamma teach about first element, which is citta, consciousness. But what citta in Abhidhamma? So if you recite all the sutta, also citta too. Okay? If you ask to the monk about the Vinaya, there is a still mind too. Okay? In Veransakanda, they ask about how you can calm your mind, how can you meditate. That's how. But we don't really know what is citta. But in Abhidhamma, we study citta as a nature of mind. A nature of mind. We don't study as what it is. What are they? But we study as a nature of it. So only nature of mind is to perceive emotions. So only one of the nature of mind is to perceive. Only perceive only. We don't care what kind of Citta, we don't care what kind of consciousness. We only care in Abhidhamma as Citta is how to perceive your mind. Okay? We don't care. But once we receive our mind, once we perceive the emotions, we know what kind of citta we have after we perceive the emotion, okay? That's how we study in Abhidhamma. So there are 4 elements in Abhidhamma. The first one is consciousness, citta. And the second one is co-adjunct. Something happened to citta, we call cha.sangthongsuk. Ika means person. Ceta, along with person. So person here is citta. So cetasika happen along with citta. The same thing, a lot of places call loba, dosa, moha, right? We understand that before in sutta or when we're chanting. Doba gi, dosa gi, moha gi. We understand that already. But in here, in Abhidhamma, the same here, we don't really study what it is. We study only thing, the nature of cetasika. We study the nature of it. So the nature of it is to happen alongside with the citta only. Okay, we don't care what are these, what are those citta. And the third element we call matters rupa. We know there is an eye, 2 eyes. We have our hands. Okay, those also the matters. But in Abhidhamma, we don't study like that. Only thing that we study is the nature of matter. Okay, what kind of nature of matter? แม่ไหวไหมอ่ะ We study only the nature of matter. Okay, only one nature of matter is decay. They will not stay strong. They will have to decay. So decay is the nature of rupa. And the 4th element is nibbana. We know nibbana when somebody attains arahata. They have nibbana. When somebody in the still mind, they are close to nibbana. We don't study like that in Abhidhamma. We only study the nature of nibbana in Abhidhamma, okay? Only one nature of nibbana is peace, okay? We study its nature. So, citta, we know what are those, but the main study is nature of it. Cetasika, we understand what are those, but in Abhidhamma, we study the nature of it. Rupa, we know a lot of rupa, ruparom, what we see, okay? But we really don't care about that. We care only the nature of ruparom, okay? What are those? And nibbana, we know somebody attain, like a holy people, they attain nibbana, but we don't understand, we don't really study like that. We have to understand the nature of nibbana. Those 4 elements we call ultimate reality. The truth, which is beyond normal, okay? Because we understand the truth is the truth. But if we understand the nature of the truth, we call ultimate reality, okay? So there are 4 elements we call ultimate reality. The first one is citta. The second one is cetasika. And the third one is rupa. And the fourth one is nibbana, okay? Those are the 4 ultimate reality. And 4 ultimate reality in Abhidhamma we call paramata. Paramata, the highest content. Atta means content, parama means highest, the highest content. So 4 ultimate reality we call paramata. Sometimes they'll ask you, what are the Paramattha. The second page will give you the clue, okay? Once you turn to the second place, for ultimate reality, there is an explanation. That explanation will give you what are the Paramattha. They will ask you to define the word sometime. They will ask you to give the information, translation sometime, information sometime, description sometime, okay? They will ask you how many Paramattha in Abhidhamma. How many? 4 of them. And although 4 Paramattha, which are the Citta, Cetasika, Rupa, and Nibbana, we don't really study the whole thing. We study only the nature of it. But in order to understand the nature of it, we have to know what are those. Okay? What are those Citta? What are those Cetasika? What are those Rupa? And what are those Nibbana? Okay? So, in order to get to the nature of each ultimate reality, we have to understand how many of them, okay? How many of them? And how many of them will be the third question, okay? How many of Citta? How many of Cetasika? How many of the Rupa? And how many of the Nibbana? So Citta, we have 89 states of Citta. Cetasika, we have 52 states of Cetasika. And Rupa, we have 28 states of Rupa. And we have 3 states of Nibbana, okay, in here. Those are the main point. We don't really study everything. We get to know the name, we get to know the meaning, and what we have to know is the nature of it. Because Abhidhamma was created or what achieved by only one thing. Can you guess? Why Buddha come up with the Abhidhamma? How? Through Vipassana only. Okay? He did not really come up with the writing. He did not come up with the thinking. He did not come up with how he planned out all the courses to teach people. But Abhidhamma was the fruit of meditation. Meditation has 2 things to think of: rising and falling, rising and ceasing. So Abhidhamma is the same. Once you see the Citta, we see the Citta is rising up, and then the next thing after rising up, we saw Citta as sinking down. Okay, so there is nothing tangible. So Paramattha, apart from 4 elements in Paramattha, we know it from Vipassana, which is something we have to do in our mind. Pracha means see. Vi means clearly. We clearly see something. What we clearly see is Paramattha. Okay? Vipassana is how we see Paramattha clearly. And Vipassana, when we see Paramattha clearly, we see only the nature of Paramattha. We don't see this is Lobha, this is Dosa. We don't see like that. We see Dosa is rising, Dosa is missing out, Dosa is rising, Dosa is ceasing, getting away. That's only the nature of our Paramattha, okay? So they ask you, how many Paramattha in Abhidhamma? We know it 4 already. A part of the 4, we have to answer how many, what is the detail, what are the details of each? We know 89, 52, 28, and 3, okay? Santi Lakkhana. And they will ask you further, what is the meaning? Because now we have to understand the nature. Once we know the nature, we have to know exactly what they are. Like in Lobha, are there how many Lobha Citta? We have to come up with the name of the Lobha Citta. So Lobha Citta, Buddha break it down into 8 states, okay, 8 states, which is not written in here, but it would be forced. The the examination will ask you to write down in this text or in the original text in Abhidhamma manual. They will give you the name like that. They will give you the source of the name, like Sangaha, Sangayita, something like that. They will give you only that, and then you have to compose all the name, the full name of each citta out. So there are 4 elements too in one citta. One is Vedana. Vedana. There are 5 Vedana, okay? I'll give you the detail later on in this handouts, okay? There are 5 Vedana, and Sankarika and Asankarika, okay? Sambayutta and Vibayutta, okay? And sometimes there are no such a thing like other 3. So there are 4 elements. There are 4 sections that you have to really focus on. The question on number 3. Number 1, they will ask you to write down the appreciation and declaration verses along with the translation. Number 2, they will ask you the group of citta. How many akusala citta? How many sobana sadharana citta? How many jhana citta? How many lokutara citta? Something like that, okay? So number 2, they will ask you like that, and you have to come up with a lot of names in grouping, okay, in grouping. And number 3, you have to come up with a description of each citta. So number 2 will be the group of citta. Number 3 will be the individual citta along with the name. For example, Lopa Mula Citta number 1. They'll ask you, what is the name of Lopa Mula Citta number 1? So you have to come up with what you're familiar next week, okay? Can you name it out? Zomana Saha Titikata Samyuta Asankharikam. That's the name. And once you have the name, you have to give the description in Thai too, okay? So number 3, the item number 3 in the question, they will ask you, can you name each citta, 89 state? And after you name citta, you have to come up with a translation. I provide all the translation in here, but in section, okay? Sambayutta, there are 5 Sambayutta. Vipayutta, there are 2 Vipayutta. Vedana, 5 Vedana in here, okay? In here you have it already. I'll go through all the pages and then I'll go into detail later, okay? And then, once we have the Paramattha, there are 4 of them. Those Paramattha, we call it Satcha too. Satcha means the truth, okay? Because we are talking about the ultimate reality, the truth. So Satcha in Pali, they'll ask you how many Satcha. I'll turn to the 3rd page, page number 3. They'll ask you how many Paramattha Satcha. See the bold sign, the bold letters? We have to give it to, okay? Sabhava Satcha and Ariya Satcha. Those are the commonly asked questions, okay? How many Paramattha Satcha? 2. One is Sabhava Satcha and Ariya Satcha. Sabhava Satcha is only the ordinary state of the truth. Ariya Satcha is the truth belong to the holy people, okay? 8 people only who has this. Okay, turn to the 4th page. See, there's one, number 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You have to mark it down. They will ask you, what are the function? What are the function of the citta? What are the function or the basic nature of consciousness? So basic nature of consciousness, number 1 is constantly aware of emotions. So perceive emotion all the time, okay? Arammana Vijanana Lakanam. That's how we describe the nature. Okay. The second one, cause cetasika, aware of emotion the same way as consciousness is. Citta know anything, cetasika know the same thing. Okay. Citta doesn't know anything, cetasika doesn't know either. So citta and cetasika once perceive emotion, they will perceive the same thing, the same emotion. The third one, cause of living and non-living appear intricate. Once we see like this is very colorful, those colorful was created by citta. Okay, citta make it so, citta make it so colorful. Or something, we say it is very ugly. What make it ugly? Not us, but citta make it so. Okay, so the third nature of the citta is to make things very intricate, to make it subtle to the understanding. Okay, so citta make everything very complex. So you can mark it down. They'll definitely ask you, what are the three nature of citta? You can use these three citta, the three items in this information to answer the question. Okay. Now go on to the fourth page and the fifth page. See the cetasika paramattha. They will ask you, what is the nature of cetasika? Only the first line is the key to answer. Cetasika is phenomenon arising together with consciousness. You can write it down because it definitely asks you the nature of cetasika. So every time when you answer the question in English, you have to get the answer along with Pali too. See in the bracket, citta nisitta lakkhanam. You really have to write it down too. So if they ask you, what is the nature of cetasika? The answer is the phenomenon arising together with consciousness, citta nisitta lakkhanam. And the rest will be explanation that you have to read by yourself. Okay? So only the answer, only the top line, only the top line. And then the syndication between citta, emotion, and cetasika. I will give the explanation later, okay? And then turn on to the sixth page. The same way, if they ask you in the question, what is the nature of rupa? What is the nature of matter? It is on the same word, on the same line only. See the same thing. Rupa is changeable and perishable phenomenon. Rupa na lakkhanam. Rupa na lakkhanam. Hand out, make up. So only the nature of rupa, only the nature of matter is changeable, always changeable, and perishable. So rupa, apart from changing, also perish. Okay, that's we call trilakka. You know trilakka? Nothing stays the same. Okay, eternal change. Nothing to stay the same is trilakka. So our self get older. Our clear skin become darker. Okay, our stretched eyes become wrinkled. So the changeable thing make it perish too. So rupa is growing old and down. Rupa never growing up and rising and brighter. Rupa only growing old and down. The down we call it perishable. Okay, so the nature of rupa is changeable and perish phenomenon. And then we have to give the description in Pali too. Rupana lakkhanam. Okay, if you want to highlight, you can highlight this line because they will definitely ask you the nature because Our main study is the nature of the phenomenon. Okay. And now Nibbana Paramata. The same way here, they will ask you, what is the nature of Nibbana Paramata? Nibbana Paramata. The same here, only the first line. Nibbana Paramata, the state of calmness from aggregates. Khanda, aggregate is khanda. Khandha is the suffering, okay? So Nibbana is the state freeing from all sufferings, okay? And the Pali is Santi Lakhanam. Santi Lakhanam. Okay? Sometimes they will ask you to break it down, the word Nibbana in Pali composition. How can you break Nibbana into terms? Okay, two terms, Ni and Vana. Ni and Vana. We will later on, okay? And now come to the very interesting and very important, the key number one. The key number one is how to name a group of citta. Key number one is how to name a group of citta, which you will have to answer in the question number 2. They will ask you the key number 1. They will pick some of the information in the key number 1 and ask you, what are the key number 1? How many citta? How many group of citta? What are the group of Gama Vajara citta? What are the Jhana citta? Okay, so key number 1, go along with the name only. You don't really have to study all the Pali in here. So you have to turn to the page 7. Page 7. See, there are group of citta. So all 89 citta phenomena. If you want to expand it into detail, you will get 121 state of mind, okay? And those states of mind are here already. They will ask you, how many rootless citta? How many rootless citta? There are 18 of them. What are those 18? So if you can come up with the answer from this page, you get number 2 already, okay? So the group of citta, 89, we start from Akusala 12, right? And then we have to break it down, Akusala 12, into Loba, Dosa, Moha, something like that. And they come up with a lot of names. See, like I told you before, they will not provide the whole concept of the answer in here. So you have to understand it first and then bring some of understanding out of the question. They will give you like, okay, Akusala citta, how them, they use it as a non-beautiful citta, 30. All of them are unwholesome thing and wholesome thing, something like that. Unwholesome is non-kusala, wholesome is kusala, okay? And then turn to the next page. Number 8, you get key number 2. Key number 2 is the answer to the question number 3. Number 3. So, there are the name of the citta. There are a lot of names of the citta from the key number 2. We have to bring name of citta from this information. So you have to make a combination of set of information in here and come up with the name, okay? Come up with the name. And then turn to the page number 10. Turn to the page number 10. See the meaning of the key number 2? Highlight. Because most of the time, they will bring up the question about the name and meaning. So these are the number 3 too, okay? So you see the highlight. You have to understand, Sankhahatang, how many Sankhahatang? Sampayutang, how many Sampayutang? Turn to the number 10. Sorry, 11. Vipayutang, how many Vipayutang? Sankharik, Asankharik, how many Sankharik and Asankharik? Vinyanam, how many Vinyanam? So now, once we have all set of this information, how many Sankhātang, Sampayuttang, Vipayuttang, Sankharik, Asankharik, and Vinyanam? All those 5 elements, we have to combine 5 elements and name each citta. And I give you the information on the meaning of Sampatichana onwards. Okay, so after Sampatichana, if you want to see, there is an answers to all the name. So I provide the translation of each citta already. So after meaning of Sampatichana citta, you will see the complete name of each citta. Very difficult for the first time study, okay, very difficult. When I was studying, you know who is my tutor? There, she's my tutor. Her name is my tutor, okay. So I was confused at the first time, I don't know what are those. And then after I pick up information, okay, I understand already, and not, I mean, it's fairly easy, it's not over difficult. I mean, once you get into it, you understand it. And once you pick up right away, okay? Now, turn to the page number 12. See the example of full description of consciousness. Now, if you want to answer the number 3, you have to come up with a full description like that. You have to combine all 5 details. Sankhāta, Sankhayita, Sampayutta, Vipayutta, Vinyanam, Sankharikam into one page, okay, into one name. And I give you some of this, not I, the book provide you with the information in here. Most of the time, when they ask the question in the examination, they will pick up some of the name they've given you in the full description, okay? Okay, turn to the next page. Once we turn to the next page, you will see the full description of each group of citta. Start from Akusala citta, okay? So if you want to know how many Akusala citta, you go by the name here. Lobha Mula citta 8, Dosa Mula citta 2, Moha Mula citta 2, and those combine into Akusala citta 12. So if they ask you, what is the meaning of Lobha Mula citta? Mula means root. So the answer is the consciousness rooted with Lobha cetasika. Okay? So you will be given all the answer to the meaning of each citta already. Okay, I'll go through all along until the page number 70. The page number 17. See the classification of citta 9 Vedana. Those are the question number 4. Number 4. They will ask you to segregate, to divide all the citta into 9 types of Vedanaya, 9 types of classifications. Okay, you have to break it down into 9 classifications. Start from number 1, Jadi Vedanai, Bhumi Vedanai, Zobana Vedanai, Loka Vedanai, Hetu Vedanai, Jhana Vedanai, Vedana Vedanai, Sangpayoka Vedanai, and Sankhara Vedanai. So the first step is you have to memorize all the 9 classification. We call it Vedanai. And then the second step is you have to understand by memorization what are the details of each Vedanai, what are the details of each classification. So number 18 until 19, that will be the key to answer number 4, okay? So if you can achieve all those 19 pages by understanding, as I told you, this year onwards, you have to memorize the format answer. You cannot come up with any kind of answer, okay? If I grade you, I will grade on the format, because this format from original text, okay? Hard, right? Not easy. When I first start studying Abhidhamma, I thought it was crazy because I never really memorized it. I finished I finished a lot of education in my life, but I never really pay attention to a lot of detail like this. Because most of the detail in Abhidhamma, most are valuable. I don't want to miss out anything from the study. But I don't understand, so I need a lot of help in order to understand and cover all the information from the lectures. I spent a lot of time. When I was studying, when I first studying Abhidhamma, I was working in Hong Kong. So I flew in from Hong Kong on Saturday, and I come to the school, and I finished school on Sunday. Sunday night, I flew back to Hong Kong. I did that for 2 years. And I realized it was crazy doing that, so I quit my job. I quit my job right away. So I want something like this, okay? At that time, I was not really, I cannot say fully I quit because there was a problem with my company. They want me to move back to US, but I don't want to go. So if I don't want to go, the only thing I can do is I quit. So I quit the job and I asked my successor to replace my position. So after 2 years, I studied Abhidhamma and I quit my job. That's how I come up with the information and understanding here, okay? So it's not very hard. I'm not a smart person, but I'm very attentive to detail, okay? So next week, I will come up with cha.sangthongsuk in another 3 items, and the following week will be the rupa, another 2 items, and nibbana on the number 10. Okay, it's about time. Thank you so much. See you next week. Okay, Saturday will be the same Thai language, and Sunday will be Abhidhamma. After I prepare you with the examination, I will go through all the details once again, and there will be the full lecture on Abhidhamma. Okay, thank you so much. See you. สวัสดีครับ